Ladies, gather round. Let's talk about something that we've all experienced, maybe even more times than we'd like to admit, when he starts playing games with you. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, oh no, not another lecture on dating, just hear me out. I'm not here to preach. I'm here to empower you to play smart. Because the truth is, when he plays games, it's not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of him. So let me be clear, you don't play his games, you play your own game. And trust me, you're going to win. When it comes to dating and relationships, one of the most common and frustrating experiences women face is when a man starts playing games. Whether it's the dreaded slow replies, the hot and cold behavior, or the endless guessing about his true intentions, these games can leave you feeling confused, anxious, and unsure of where you stand. But here's the truth. Don't engage in his games. You might be thinking, but what if I really like him? What if I just need to give him a little space? And I get it. You want to understand his behavior. You want to make sense of things, and you don't want to push him away. But here's the harsh reality. When a man is playing games, he's not showing you who he really is. He's showing you his insecurity, his lack of maturity, and his inability to communicate honestly. Engaging with this behavior is like feeding into his ego, and the more you tolerate it, the more you encourage it. The first thing to recognize is that engaging in his games doesn't help either of you. When he's being inconsistent or distant, replying to you on his own terms, or leaving you constantly questioning his feelings, it's not a sign of his interest in you. It's a sign that he doesn't respect your time, your energy, or your emotional investment. And when you keep engaging with that behavior, whether by over-texting, seeking reassurance, or adjusting your behavior to try to get his attention, you're essentially telling him that you're okay with being treated this way. You're showing him that his games are working, and that only encourages more of the same behavior. What you need to understand is that you don't have to play by his rules. The reason so many women get caught in the cycle of chasing after unclear answers or trying to decode his mixed signals is because there's a fear of losing out or missing the opportunity for something great. But the reality is, if a man really wants to be with you, he will show up in a way that is clear, consistent, and respectful. He won't leave you second-guessing or wondering if he's interested or if he's just playing around. A man who is genuinely interested in you will communicate openly. He will make an effort to spend time with you, and he will treat you with the respect you deserve. The key here is to recognize that when a man is playing games, it's not a reflection of you or your worth. It's a reflection of him. It's a sign that he's either not ready for a serious relationship, is unsure of what he wants, or is simply immature in how he handles emotions and communication. And the truth is, you don't need to engage with this kind of behavior. You deserve someone who is ready to meet you halfway, who values you, and who respects your time and energy. Instead of investing emotional energy into deciphering his mixed signals, pull back, create the space for him to either step up or step out. Give him the opportunity to show you who he really is without you chasing after him or trying to interpret his actions. When you stop engaging with his games, you're essentially giving him the freedom to make a decision. And here's the kicker. If he's not ready to be straightforward with you, if he continues playing games and keeping you in the dark, then you have your answer. He's not the one. I know it can be hard. The urge to seek clarity is strong, and we all want to know where we stand. But remember this, you don't need to chase anyone to prove your worth. If someone truly values you, they will communicate with you clearly. They won't keep you on the sidelines or make you feel like you're constantly guessing. And if they do, that's not someone you need to invest in. Instead, focus on yourself. Keep your life full. Keep your energy positive and keep your standards high. When you stop engaging in his games, you free up your emotional space to attract someone who is emotionally available, who will communicate with you clearly, and who will show up in the way you deserve. It's not about playing hard to get. It's about knowing your worth and not settling for anything less. When you stop engaging in the games, you're giving yourself the space to thrive and grow without being caught in a cycle of confusion and uncertainty. And that's when the right man will come along, someone who will match your energy and respect your value. In the end, it's about taking control of your own emotional well-being. Don't let anyone play with your heart or your mind. Stay grounded in who you are, and don't allow anyone to distract you from what you deserve, because you are worthy of someone who shows up for you without the games. Creating boundaries in a relationship is one of the most powerful tools you can use to protect your emotional health, preserve your sense of self, and ensure that you're attracting the kind of respect and love you truly deserve. When it comes to relationships, especially in the early stages, it's easy to get caught up in the excitement and overlook the importance of setting clear boundaries. But the truth is, boundaries are not just a luxury, they are essential. They serve as the foundation for a healthy relationship, one built on mutual respect, trust, and understanding. So often, when someone plays games or treats us in a way that doesn't feel right, we tend to react emotionally, seeking answers or trying to understand their behavior. But the first thing you need to realize is that you have control over how you allow people to treat you. You don't need to wait for someone else to set the rules. You have the power to create and enforce your own boundaries from the very beginning. Boundaries are not about being harsh or distant. They're about taking care of your own emotional well-being and ensuring that the people around you treat you with the respect and consideration that you deserve. In fact, setting boundaries is an act of self-respect. It's an acknowledgement that your time, your energy, and your emotions are valuable and deserve to be treated as such. Creating boundaries in a relationship starts with understanding what you will and won't tolerate. This means getting clear on your values, your non-negotiables, and the behaviors that are simply unacceptable to you. What do you expect from someone who is interested in you? How do you want to be treated? What kind of behavior is a deal breaker for you? These are the questions you need to ask yourself in order to set healthy, realistic boundaries. For example, if you value clear and consistent communication, a boundary might be that you won't tolerate someone who only replies to your texts when it's convenient for them, or who takes days to get back to you without any explanation. If trust is a non-negotiable value for you, your boundary might be that you won't continue to see someone who lies or is dishonest with you, no matter how small the lie. If respect is important to you, then you won't tolerate someone who is dismissive, condescending, or disrespectful toward you in any way. Once you have identified your boundaries, it's time to communicate them. This is where many people get stuck, either because they fear conflict, worry about seeming too demanding, or are afraid of pushing someone away. But here's the thing, setting boundaries is not about being rigid or inflexible. It's about being honest with yourself and with others about what you need in order to feel safe, valued, and cared for. When you communicate your boundaries, do it with confidence and clarity. You don't have to apologize for them. You don't need to explain or justify your reasons in a way that makes the other person feel comfortable. Just say what you need and expect and be firm in maintaining those boundaries. If someone truly cares about you, they will respect those boundaries without question. If they don't, then it's a sign that they may not be the right person for you, and it's better to know that sooner rather than later. It's also important to remember that boundaries are not one-sided. Just as you set boundaries for yourself, you should also respect the boundaries of others. Relationships are a two-way street, and mutual respect is the key to maintaining a healthy dynamic. If you expect someone to respect your space, time, and emotional energy, you must be willing to do the same for them. It's about creating an environment of trust where both parties feel safe and valued. Enforcing boundaries can sometimes feel uncomfortable, especially if you're not used to doing it, but here's the truth. The more you practice setting and enforcing boundaries, the easier it becomes. It's a muscle that grows stronger with use, and when you do this consistently, the right people will be drawn to you. People who understand and respect your boundaries, who will rise to meet you at your level of standards. In relationships, boundaries allow you to feel secure, protected, and loved. They provide a sense of structure that lets you enjoy the relationship without feeling like you're walking on eggshells or constantly questioning the other person's intentions. When you set healthy boundaries, you create an environment where both parties can thrive individually while still nurturing the connection you share. Ultimately, being the one who creates boundaries means taking control of your own happiness and emotional well-being. It means saying to yourself and the world, I know my worth and I will not settle for anything less than the respect, care, and love I deserve. Boundaries aren't about keeping people out. They're about creating space for the right people to enter and building a relationship that's rooted in mutual respect, understanding, and love. When you create and uphold your boundaries, you send a clear message that you are not willing to compromise on your own value and that you expect the same from others. This is the foundation for any healthy, lasting relationship. One of the most powerful things you can do for yourself, especially in the context of dating and relationships, is to keep your own life in full swing. What does this mean exactly? It means prioritizing your own growth, happiness, and fulfillment outside of your relationship, ensuring that you remain an independent, confident individual who does not rely on someone else to validate your worth or dictate your happiness. When you keep your life in full swing, you maintain a strong sense of self. You invest in your passions, your hobbies, your career, and your personal development. You stay connected with your friends and family, nurturing those relationships that bring you joy and support. You take care of your mental, emotional, and physical health because you understand that you are your own priority. When you live a life that is vibrant and full, you won't feel the need to chase someone or compromise your values just to fill a void. It can be easy, especially early in a relationship, to get swept up in the excitement of a new connection. There's a natural desire to spend time with the person you're dating, to invest energy into making things work, and to imagine a future together. But here's the thing, when you start putting your life on hold for someone else, you risk losing sight of who you are and what makes you happy. You might begin to put their needs and desires ahead of your own, which can lead to feelings of resentment, dependency, and frustration down the road. When you keep your life in full swing, you create a balance that allows you to enjoy the relationship without sacrificing your individuality. This isn't about being distant or unavailable. It's about ensuring that you still have your own goals, dreams, and sense of identity, regardless of where things stand with someone else. You have to remember that a healthy relationship is one where both partners come together as individuals, not where one person becomes completely absorbed in the other. You must always be a whole person first. Maintaining a full life means continuing to pursue your passions. Maybe you've always wanted to learn how to paint, run a marathon, start a business, or take up a new language. Keeping your life in full swing means you don't stop those activities just because you're in a relationship. Instead, you actively make time for them because they bring you joy and fulfillment that isn't dependent on anyone else. When you are engaged in the things that light you up, you become more interesting, more confident, and more attractive. Not because you're trying to be, but because you are truly engaged with life in a meaningful way. Moreover, keeping your life in full swing means you take the time to invest in your personal development. You continue learning and growing, whether it's by reading books, attending seminars, developing new skills, or focusing on your emotional intelligence. By doing so, you become more secure in yourself and your relationship because you know that your happiness is not based solely on someone else's attention or approval. This also empowers you to set boundaries and make decisions that are in alignment with your values. You are less likely to settle for poor treatment or to ignore red flags because you have a clear sense of what you deserve and won't tolerate anything less. Another key aspect of keeping your life in full swing is maintaining your social connections. It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of a new relationship, but remember, your friends and family are an important part of your life. Make sure you continue to nurture those relationships. Spend time with people who love and support you, who lift you up and remind you of your worth. These relationships act as a grounding force, offering you perspective and encouragement when things aren't going perfectly in your romantic life. You'll also find that when you continue to invest in your friendships, you'll avoid the trap of becoming too dependent on your romantic partner for all your emotional needs. Furthermore, keeping your life in full swing helps you avoid the temptation of becoming overly consumed by the dynamics of your relationship. You don't want to fall into the trap of waiting for someone's text, obsessing over when they will call, or constantly questioning where things stand. When you have a fulfilling, busy life outside of the relationship, you create healthy space for both of you. You don't become needy or anxious about every interaction. You allow the relationship to unfold naturally, knowing that you're in a good place no matter what. Finally, keeping your life in full swing teaches you to be self-sufficient emotionally. While it's natural to want love and companionship, you must first learn how to be content on your own. The more you learn to enjoy your own company, the less likely you are to tolerate unhealthy behavior or settle for a relationship that doesn't serve you. When you're complete on your own, you won't feel the pressure to rush things or chase after someone's affection. You'll be patient and confident, knowing that you have a fulfilling life to live, whether or not a relationship is part of it. When it comes to dating and relationships, one of the most important skills you can master is the art of playing it cool. But here's the twist. Playing it cool isn't about being distant, aloof, or disinterested. It's about maintaining your composure, staying true to yourself, and not letting the other person's behavior dictate your emotional state. It's about being confident enough to not overreact or chase after someone's affection, yet still being purposeful in your interaction. So why is it so important to play it cool? The truth is, when you react too strongly to someone's behavior, especially in the early stages of dating, you can inadvertently lose your power. If you're constantly texting them first, waiting for their next move, or overthinking every word they say, you're giving away your emotional energy and attention without letting them earn it. This dynamic can create an unhealthy imbalance in the relationship where you end up seeking validation from someone who isn't putting in the same effort. Playing it cool is about showing up with intention, not desperation. It's about knowing your worth and acting from a place of self-assurance, which naturally attracts the right kind of attention. You don't need to chase someone or beg for their affection. The key is to allow things to unfold at their own pace while also keeping your own life and emotional boundaries in check. By staying grounded and emotionally stable, you create space for a genuine connection to grow. One way to do this is to not rush things. Relationships take time, and there's no need to push for quick answers or try to force a connection. If you're constantly questioning where you stand or trying to get the other person to define things too early, you're putting unnecessary pressure on both of you. Instead, play it cool by enjoying the process. Let the relationship evolve naturally without forcing a label or expecting immediate clarity. The more relaxed and confident you are about taking your time, the more likely it is that you'll attract someone who is emotionally available and ready to invest in you. Playing it cool also means not over-texting or over-communicating. In today's world, it's easy to fall into the trap of texting constantly or reading too much into someone's messages, but the truth is, over-texting can create anxiety and uncertainty. When you're always the first to reach out or you're desperately waiting for a response, you're giving off the energy of someone who is too eager, and that can be a turnoff. Instead, play it cool by maintaining a balanced approach to communication. Let them initiate sometimes. Don't feel the need to over-explain yourself or overshare. By keeping some mystery and space, you make your time and attention more valuable. At the same time, playing it cool with purpose also involves knowing when to express your feelings or communicate your needs. It's about being emotionally intelligent, understanding that you don't need to hide or suppress your emotions, but also that you don't need to overwhelm someone with them too quickly. If you're clear about your intentions and have confidence in what you want, you can express that in a calm and respectful way without getting anxious or pushing for a certain outcome. Ultimately, playing it cool is about striking the right balance. It's about not losing your sense of self in the pursuit of someone else's approval or affection. It's about having a healthy detachment where you can care about someone but not at the expense of your own happiness or emotional stability. By playing it cool, you show that you value yourself enough to not settle for anything less than what you deserve. When you do that, you naturally set the stage for a more genuine, balanced, and fulfilling connection. Recognizing red flags early in a relationship is one of the most important skills you can develop, as it helps protect you from potential heartache and wasted time. While it's easy to get swept up in the excitement of a new connection, learning to spot warning signs early on can prevent you from investing too much emotionally into someone who isn't right for you. Red flags are subtle indicators of behaviors or patterns that could be harmful, manipulative, or simply incompatible with your values. They're often small at first, but over time they can become bigger issues if ignored. One of the most common red flags to watch for is inconsistent behavior. If someone is hot and cold, one moment they're all in, texting and calling regularly, and the next they're distant or unresponsive, it's a sign of emotional instability or indecisiveness. People who are truly interested in you will show consistency in their actions and words. If someone is constantly pulling back or changing their behavior without clear communication, it's a sign that they may not be emotionally available or ready for a committed relationship. Recognizing this early on helps you avoid wasting time chasing someone who isn't fully invested. Another important red flag is disrespectful behavior. This can range from small things like making fun of you in front of others, dismissing your opinions, or disregarding your boundaries, to larger issues like verbal abuse or controlling actions. Disrespect, whether subtle or overt, should never be tolerated in any form. If someone undermines your self-worth, belittles you, or makes you feel uncomfortable or unsafe, those are immediate signs to step back. A healthy relationship is built on mutual respect, and if that foundation is cracked early on, it's unlikely that things will improve in the future. Lack of communication is also a red flag. Open, honest, and transparent communication is the cornerstone of any successful relationship. If someone avoids important conversations, shuts down when you bring up concerns, or is unwilling to express their feelings or thoughts clearly, it's a serious issue. Poor communication can lead to misunderstandings, misalignment, and frustration down the road. A partner who refuses to engage in meaningful conversations or doesn't make an effort to understand your point of view isn't someone who's ready for a healthy, long-term relationship. Similarly, someone who is unwilling to make compromises or who is overly self-centered can create an unhealthy dynamic. Relationships require give and take, and if someone is always prioritizing their own needs, desires, or time without considering yours, it's a red flag. This kind of behavior can lead to feelings of resentment, as one person is always doing the emotional labor while the other person remains indifferent. If they consistently show no willingness to compromise or show empathy for your needs, it's time to reevaluate the relationship. Jealousy and possessiveness are also major red flags. A partner who displays excessive jealousy or tries to control who you spend time with, what you wear, or where you go is someone who doesn't respect your autonomy. Healthy relationships are built on trust and mutual support, not control. If someone consistently tries to isolate you from your friends or family, or makes you feel guilty for having a life outside of the relationship, it's a sign of insecurity and manipulation. Lastly, pay attention to your gut feelings. Often your intuition will alert you to red flags before your mind even processes them. If something feels off, if you're constantly second-guessing the person's motives, or if you feel uneasy around them, don't ignore those feelings. Trusting your instincts can be one of the most powerful ways to protect yourself from toxic relationships. Recognizing red flags early gives you the power to make informed decisions about who you allow into your life. It helps you avoid getting too emotionally invested in someone who isn't right for you and empowers you to walk away before things get more complicated or damaging. Remember, the right person will respect you, communicate with you openly, and make you feel valued from the start. Recognizing and respecting the red flags early on is the key to protecting your heart and finding a relationship that is healthy, fulfilling, and worth your time.